Okay, so today we're going to talk about the vulnerability known as information disclosure vulnerability. So this vulnerability majorly, you can say, expose or enumerate the backend side database, which should not be released because it's a sensitive information part. So today's major agenda would be how information disclosure vulnerability looks like and what are the categories they identify. So you see over here how an attacker simply use a simple parameter request with the burp suite. As we know about the burp suite, which is you're holding the request from the client side and intercepts the request from the server side. So you will see some of the websites, they are not the most important thing. The request parameter should be properly handled or properly have a look on that how an attacker can get the data. So today's we're going to talk about the information disclosure, what kind of information that we're going to look over here. As they have mentioned, learning to find exploit information disclosure is a vital skills of any tester. It's not mandatory that you have to be a professional or what anyone can find, but just he needs to understand the basic concept how it works. So they have given regular basis, and once you have how to exploit it effectively, you can help you to improve your testing efficiency and enable you to find additional high severity bugs. High severity means the critical vulnerabilities over there. So they have given the lab access over here. You can try. So over here there are 5 labs, and you can see information disclosure in error messages, information disclosure on debug page, source code disclosure by backup files, authentication bypass by here they have given the histories over here. These 5 challenges are basically depends on your information disclosure, which could be lead us for a sensitive information part. So what exactly the information disclosure vulnerability is? If I talk about in a layman language, information disclosure is basically to leak the sensitive information about the server side, which can be lead for sensitive information. You can see information disclosure, also known as information leakage, is when a website initially reveals sensitive information to its user. Initial user means initial information leaks, just like your server side information, like other users' information. Depending on context, web may leak all kind of information to a potential attacker. Which kind of information they're gonna look for? Like they have given the 3 types of information: data about other users, such as username and financial informations; sensitive commercial or business data; or in technical details about the website and the infra. These 3 categories are defined over there, which can be leaders for information. Anything which is related to the server side and it can be sensitive over there. For example, you can see the danger of leaking sensitive users and business data are fairly obvious. And if you check for the vulnerabilities in the real life scenarios, in the hacker ones or the bug crowd, you will see lots of people are having $500 to $700 a bounty. The major part over here is to understand how the attack scenario works. And the most important thing, what are some examples of information disclosure? I may tell you about there is a basic concept they are telling, revealing the names and hidden directories, their structure and their contents, like robots.txt. Robot.txt file contains all the directories and subdirectories on the server side, which get leads for sensitive information. Sometimes in robot.txt we can find some admin panel, admin portals, on many other things can be over there. So our major perspective over here is to simply identify or simply enumerate the services. For example, let's have a look of the robot.txt of Facebook. Robot.txt contains all the allow and disallow directories of the server side, which should be handled properly, and some of the sensitive directories should not be gone over there. And if you look for the any of the government website or any of other website like your in URL, let's talk about HTTP websites. In URL, let's talk about the login.php website. No, let's take a normal website. Let's take Indian website. National. Let's see this one. So this is nicwebsite.in. So I guess this one is carrying a normal ASP website. So let's try robots.txt file. Let's try over here. No. Ignore the people university. Robot.txt contains some sensitive information. Like over here, they have disallowed the robot.txt version 1.7, and what we have over here includes miscellaneous modules, profile scripts, site themes. These are disallowed. See over here, we have an admin portal, a logout, a login user part. If we can access this one, it could be a critical vulnerability for them. And yes, we are. This is a normal user.login page, but I was seeing an admin page also. Ignore CMS. Ignore CMS. So over here, I can see this page is totally broken. Over here, I can see some of the encrypted words is given there, and some of the message things has been done. So my major objective was to simply penetrate all the skills over here and simply identify if we can find any vulnerabilities which can be lead us for any other information. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to find more things, and we're gonna look over one by one. So you can try many websites. You can try, they have given all the, just search for the, we can see username and password, what exactly this one is. If any of the users over there, they have saying it's disallowed, but they are allowing the contents. Sometimes an attacker can get to the administrator login page and try many other things. There are given, these are the files which is over there. Same, they have given the robot.txt file which contains the directories and listing, providing access to the source code files by temporary backup. Providing access to the source code. Source code is the important part. You should never get the source code, because through the source code, an attacker can build a new website. A proper API source code. Explicitly mentioning database table and column names in the error messages. See, get animation of the database services. Unusually exposing highly sensitive information such as your credit cards and details. Hard coding API keys. Hard coding API keys. This is the important thing. If you simply find this thing, any of the information disclosure, you will get a bounty of $300 to $500. What kind of information you're gonna get? You're gonna look for API keys, look for IP addresses, internal IP addresses, which is also sensitive information, database credentials, and so on, source code. They have given hitting an existing absence of resources, username, and so on, subtitle. Okay. And the most important thing, how the vulnerability arises. You know the vulnerability name, but if you doesn't know what is the main cause, what is the main cause that an attack can be occur. See over here, so it's all about the poor code quality. Poor code quality means the developers we are going to talk about. Information disclosure vulnerabilities can arise in countless different ways. These can be broadly be customized as follows: failure to remove internal content from the public content. Internal content. The internal content which is revealed on the source code in the backend view source. You can see, for example, developer comment in the markup are sometimes visible to users in production environment. Some sensitive information you can find on the back end of the view source code also, the front end database, because they simply use it for the comment out part. Insecure configuration of the website and related technology. For example, failing out to disable debugging and diagnostic features can sometimes provide attacker with useful tools to help them to obtain sensitive information. Default configuration and also leave website vulnerable. Flow design and behavior of the application. Flow design and behavior of the application is important. There are lots of things can be happened over there. If a website returns distinct response with the error status code, it could be also attacker to enumerate sensitive data, such as valid user information. So, what are we gonna do over here today? We can try to exploit this one, and how does it look like? So let's have a look at the first one. This lab is one of those error messages. Error message from the server side. Listen, through the error, we have to examine what exactly the error means. Reveal that it's using a vulnerable version of the third-party framework. Third-party framework. They are using an application to solve this lab, obtain sensitive information, number of the framework, okay, and submit the version of the number of the framework. You need to obtain the number, the version of that application is running. It's mean we need to do banner grabbing part. Banner grabbing where we need to identify the version. So over here, you can see they have given an example how we can look for. There are many other techniques that we can use over here to identify. But over here, as you can see, use burp running. Open the doc page. In the burp, go to the proxy HTTP history and notice the get request and product page contain an ID parameter. Send the ID parameter one to the burp repeater. Note that the product ID might be different depending on which product you loaded. See, means you have to change the value. In the buffer, to change the value of the ID parameter to a non-integer data type, such as string. String means a character, a word, you can say. For the example, they are given a word over here. Let's have a look. What will happen? So over here, we have a proper web page. Let's have a look to any of this one. Let's take a look on this one. So let's try with the burp suite. So I'm gonna go over here. Intercept is running. We have to do burp. Yeah. Let's install the interception on, and let's have a look at this one. The parameter has been intercepted. Over here, we can see we have product ID is equal to 1. See, we have product ID is equal to 1. So let's have a look on the repeater part. Drop the packet. I don't want the packet right now. So let's try one by one what will happen over here. So let's go to the repeater. And yeah, we can see product ID is equal to 1. Let's execute first this one. And I can see the content or normal content over here. Show responsive browser. Let's see what will happen. Yes, I can see the man with the Motorola phone. Yep. So let's try to change the value with the 2. Yes. Over here, we can simply jump to any of the resources with the parameter value. Yep. Now let's try one thing. What will happen if we simply change the value which is given over here with the integer
Integer means numeric values. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna try to simply put up string. So let's try my name. That would be my string capital value. So what exactly happened? This specific ID parameter was having a proper value, which is a column name from the database server. A column name from the database server, and I simply put dark Lucifer, which is a normal value. But when I see something over here that is showing 500, 500 means server side error. Server side error came from the simple pop-up that this simple parameter value didn't accept the value. Internal server error. We have an error from the server side, and which revealing some of the information like internal server error, Java language number format exception for input strings, and other format things can be balanced. So over here, what are we gonna do? We're gonna try to simply enumerate or extract these services. So let's have a look. Our task was to reveal some third-party application version, and over here I can see Apache strut and the version. This information, as we have mentioned, that it can be revealed some internal information like as we have talked about, it could be your API keys, your IP address, your database credentials, and so on source code. And I can see my version is over here. Answer the solutions, and it's solved. The major important thing is to simply extract the information which can be revealed. Sometimes they reveal some sensitive information because the server side didn't validate the message body, because it will show you an internal error as per the what is the impact of information disclosure vulnerability. See, this is the important part. Each and every impact and remediations are important when you are doing a web application pen testing part. Information disclosure can have both a direct and indirect impact depending on the purpose of the website. The major objective of the insecure your information disclosure vulnerability is to simply get data leakage on the server side, which can disclose sensitive information and highly impact the affected parties also, which are integrated with the specific website. You can see customer credit card details can be leaked, and so on can be done by one. So the most important thing is to understand all the impact and the categories that will lead us for information. Let's try the second one. Yeah. So we have information disclosure on debugging page. Debug page means testing page. This is a testing page where we need to have to solve all the details one by one. So now they are talking about you have to find the secret key. This lab contains a debug page that discloses sensitive information about the application. To solve this lab, obtain the submit the secret key environment variable. Secret key environment variable means you have to find the specific API key over there. For example, check out this one. How they're gonna select with the burp running, browse the home page, go to the target sitemap, right click on the top level entry of the lab and select engagement tool, find comment. Find comment means you have to specify the specific one. Notice that the home page contains an HTML comment that contains a link like called you debug. This points to the CGI bin. CGI bin, common gateway interface binary, which is basically used for interacting with the web application to the client. In the sitemap, right click on the entry CGI bin PHP info file and select send to repeater. PHP info, which contains some information. Send the request to the retrieve the file. Notice that it reveals various debugging informations, includes the secret key environment variables. Let's have a look what will happen. So we are on the home page. So as they have mentioned that you have to look for the sitemap, which is the crawler part. So let's have a look. So we have some websites over here. Hmm. So let's have a look on the engagement tool. We can see find comment, and what we can search for? We can search for debug. Okay, so I guess this was debug page. Okay, wait, something happened. Hmm. So with the burp running, browse the home page, go to the target sitemap, right click on the top level entry in the lab and select engagement tool. Mhm. Okay, let's do one thing. I'm gonna remove all the one by one. First of all, let's remove this one. Let's do a fresh thing. Let's try this one again. Hmm. And we have some parameter values. So my major perspective will be over here. Right click, select for the debugging page. If you find any debugging page over here, let's search for debug. We have logo academy CSV, but we have a request and the parameter values over here. Read.css, response code, something familiar. Mm, comment. We find some debugging points. Yeah, over here. See, over here we just have this one. Let's do one thing. Let's change it to the repeater mode. reference cgi.bin, but the parameter, the request contains something else, and response showing us 200. So cgi.bin.php can access this one. Reference. So we have 200. So what we have over here, we can see some PHP versions. Some PHP versions 7.2, Ubuntu server, Linux internal. Look, they are revealing some internal servers IP address also. See, Linux version IP address. Some CGI fastkeys, etc PHP, internal directory, some configuration files over here. Let's search for the secret key. And what we have over here, we have our secret key, which is written over here. All we did was we simply look for the cgi.bin.php file, which is a debugging mode over there. Sometimes you have to look for the files. Sometimes you have to check for one by one all the parameter values, which it retrieves some sensitive information. A secret key which is hidden on the server side, and we can see there are lots of information has been exposed. Internal IP address are also server name. See, this is a part of your information disclosure, which can lead us for information part. And there are many other things can be happened over there that could be done. Let's have a look. Submit a solution. Is it the right one? Yes, this is the right one. So my major objective of this one is to simply identify all the services. What we used over here, we simply, I was simply checking was comment the parameter, find the comment parameters. So they were all like comment parameters. See, in the comment parameter, you can see all the files which has a heading. A comment parameter which is exposed by the developer. They are not aware that these are some information has been revealed in the backend side, which could be lead us for information gathering part. There are lots of further things can be happen over there, which can be done one by one.